I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. We are now going to read a little bit in Jeremiah before we continue with our histories. So this will be Jeremiah chapter 18. Remember, the last thing we read in our histories was the death of Josiah. He held his great banquet, his great Passover feast in the 18th year of his reign, and he reigned for 31 years. So these chapters are likely either in those 13 years at the end of Josiah's reign, or just after Josiah's death. Chapter 18. Israel is as potter's clay in the hands of the Lord. If nations repent, the Lord withholds the evil decreed against them. The Jews shall be scattered. The word which came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause thee to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house, and, behold, he wrought a work on the wheels. And the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hand of the potter, so he made it again another vessel, as seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, O house of Israel, can I not do with you as this potter, saith the Lord? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are ye in mine hand, O house of Israel. At what instant I shall speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom, to pluck up and to pull down and to destroy it. If that nation against whom I have pronounced turn from their evil, I will repent of the evil that I have thought to do unto them. And at what instant I shall speak concerning a nation and concerning a kingdom, to build and to plant it. And if it do evil in my sight, that it obey not my voice, then I will repent of the good wherewith I said I would benefit them. So I like this, the potter's clay visual. He actually sends Jeremiah to watch the potter work. And what happened? The potter's making a vessel, but the clay gets marred. Doesn't say how. The clay gets marred. And the potter, instead of trying to rebuild the original vessel, reshapes it into a new vessel. He uses the same clay, but reshapes it into a new vessel so that the marring of it would work for it instead of against it. And that's what God does with Israel. That's what God does with all of us. He takes us as we are and forms us and shapes us. And he may have an original plan. Just like Israel, he wanted to keep Israel there as a nation. But they turned to wickedness, and so he had to change the plan and shape them into a new vessel. But he also says, if I decree judgment against you and you repent, I'll withdraw the judgment. And if I decree blessings upon you and you turn to wickedness, I will withdraw the blessings. That's how this works. Verse 11. Now therefore go to, speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return ye now every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your doings good. And they said, There is no hope, but we will walk after our own devices, and we will every one do the imagination of his evil heart. Therefore thus saith the Lord, Ask ye now among the heathen, who hath heard such things. The Virgin of Israel hath done a very horrible thing. Will a man leave the snow of Lebanon, which cometh from the rock of the field? Or shall the cold flowing waters that come from another place be forsaken? Because my people hath forsaken me, they have burned incense to vanity, and they have caused them to stumble in their ways from the ancient paths, to walk in paths in a way not cast up. To make their land desolate and a perpetual hissing, every one that passeth thereby shall be astonished, and wag his head. I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I will shew them the back, and not the face in the day of their calamity. So he commands Jeremiah to tell the Jews to repent, but the Jews refuse, and so God says, well, you're going to be destroyed. That's the basics of this one. Now let's look at this verse 15, where it says, burnt incense to vanity. That's the idols, because idols are all vanity. But when it says, they stumble in their ways from the ancient paths to walk in paths. Instead of doing the right way, instead of doing the way that has been the way since the beginning, they are abandoning that and choosing their own paths. But let us continue reading. This is verse 18. Then said they, Come, and let us devise devices against Jeremiah, for the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come, and let us smite him with the tongue, and let us not give heed to any of his words. Give heed to me, O Lord, and hearken to the voice of them that contend with me. Shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have digged a pit for my soul. Remember that I stood before thee to speak good for them, and to turn away thy wrath from them. Therefore deliver up their children to the famine, and pour out their blood by the force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of their children and be widows, and let their men be put to death. Let their young men be slain by the sword in battle. Let a cry be heard from their houses when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. For they have digged a pit to take me, and hid snares for my feet. Yet, Lord, thou knowest all their counsel against me to slay me. Forgive not their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from thy sight, but let them be overthrown before thee. Deal thus with them in the time of thine anger. Because of his preaching, the people are all conspiring against Jeremiah to kill him, and he is saying the prayer of, I've been faithful to you, protect me and judge them. Just take them out. It's an interesting prayer for a prophet. But before we sign off, chapter 18 does have some Joseph Smith translations. So let's look at this. Verse 8, in the last clause in the King James, it says, I will repent of the evil that I thought to do unto them. Joseph Smith corrects this, I will withhold the evil that I thought to do unto them. In verse 10, again, the word repent there says, Then I will repent of the good. Joseph Smith corrects this, then I will withhold the good. Verse 14, though, get a little more complicated. Verse 14 in the King James says, Will a man leave the snow of Lebanon, which cometh from the rock of the field, or shall the cold flowing waters that come from another place be forsaken? Now that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So Joseph Smith gives us this correction here. Will you not leave the snow of the fields of Lebanon? Shall not the cold flowing waters that come from another place from the rock be forsaken? Now that makes more sense. But we'll leave that here. We will be reading one more chapter in Jeremiah before we return to our history. So see you there.